your invitation for coaches and leaders of organization to read your new book, Dynamics of Generative Change?
Well, that book it's a very short book, and I think it was written for dialogic OD practitioners. Um, so that's the audience. So some managers and leaders might find it a little too technical in the weeds around the issues around creating more generative change, but other people might like it for that very reason. So, a lot of like, I hate to say this, but successful management books, typically are pretty simple. I mean, I call them fuzzy mammal books. Usually it's a parable about, bears or mice, or who ate my cheese, or go fish, or and although this book is a story, so the Dynamics of Generative Change is only 100 pages, and half of it is a story of an organization going through a generative change process. And the other half is a commentary then directed at dialogic practitioners for how to think about those issues and how to consult into organizations to create generative change. So I like it. I think if I had wanted to write a book for leaders, it would have been a little different. And I might still do that, but I haven't. So I'm noticing that's not emerging. So I guess it's not really important to me at this point. I've been dabbling with wanting to write a book on generative leadership, but I don't know. It doesn't seem to be. Well, it's not ready to be born yet. So maybe that will come in a bit.
And I also, this is a very interesting book of yours, which is
well, thank you.
Awful, yeah. And most of the things you said are already connected to this dialogical organizational change also, because of the narratives. Is there anything you want to emphasize on this work you have done?
Dialogic organization development? Well, that book in particular, like when Bob and I put that book together, Bushe-Marshak, Bob said, it's time for us to write the book. And I said, I'm not ready to write the book. And he said, well, if we don't write the book, someone else is going to write the book. And I thought, and I said, what if we reach out to the best people in the world we know? Well, what would be our table of contents? What would be the chapter headings? And let's reach out to the best people we know for each of those chapters and ask them if they would write that, but that we would aggressively edit it so that, so that it would read like a book as opposed to just a whole bunch of different papers. And I'm very proud at how we did with that. I spent about 18 months of my life working on that book. And the people we found are just really a great people who really are scholar practitioners. They're very thoughtful, but they're also in the world of practice and able to bring a specific lens to things, and a lot of those went through 4 or 5 or 6 drafts of me or Bob working with the author to kind of focus in on what we wanted that chapter to be about, connect it to the rest of the book so that there was a real flow. We wanted it, and we also think that being successful, like a lot of people want to know what's the technique, what's the method. And, our message has been from the very beginning, it's not about the method, it's about the mindset. Right? It's about the mindset of the practitioner, how you're making sense of the world, how you're seeing it, how you understand change, how you understand your role, all of that. And then the methods come and go. And it really came out of this, like, people will go off and they'll spend 2 or 3 days and they'll go to a workshop and they'll learn a method, and then they try to apply the method, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, and they don't know why. And I think we know why. And so that's what this book is about. So half of it is on the theory and half of it's on the practice. And I think the theory part in some ways is the most important part, because if you really understand this idea that organizations are networks of meaning making, and that, people make sense of the world, and they're influenced by the narratives that get created. How do you create those narratives? And that all organizations are self-organizing. They're always self-organizing, whether they're self-organizing in a way that's for the collective good or for their own, just looking after themselves, depends on these sorts of things. And how do you support that self-organization in a way that's going to move you in a direction you want as a leader? All these sorts of things. That's the theory part, then you need to understand that. So I feel really good about the quality of the book. Now, when we produced the book, our intent was to create a textbook for graduate OD courses. I've been surprised by how many professionals have picked it up and read it. It's like, holy cow, that was very surprising. And it continues to sell pretty well. So I'm, for a very technical and very large book, it's just not my expectation at all. Versus what Bob and I are doing now is we're publishing a series of these 100-page books. So the Dynamic of Generative Change is one in a series of the Bushe-Marshak Institute series in Dialoging OD. We have put out 5 so far. The 6th one's coming out next month. We publish them on Amazon, so they're self-published. If you go to our website, which is b-m-institute.com, you can see these books, and these are, I think, for practitioners. I think what we're doing is we're creating the OD curriculum for the 21st century through these books. And initially, our intent was, okay, we've written a lot about the theory of dialogic OD. What we really need to do now is give people a lot more around the practice. And so we wanted to keep the books really small, focused on one aspect of dialogic OD practice that applies to any method. We didn't want to write books on, appreciative inquiry or future search or conferencing or any of these things. But what's been happening lately is I'm getting feedback that these are being used in university courses and stuff like that. And then I realized, oh yeah, I think we are creating the curriculum for the 21st century here. And I'm very excited about that, and always looking for new books. So if you have one, or someone has a 100-page, very focused kind of, one aspect of dialogic OD practice, we're interested.
You have the books now to show that. Do you have that?
Yeah. Let's see if these are. You know what? I'm going to stop this background thing. Choose virtual background. Let's try this one. Let's make a leadership background. Is this going to work now? Same problem. Okay. You're just going to see my office now. It's a bit of a mess. There you go. None. Okay. So Dynamics of Generative Change, Dialogic Process Consulting, Generative Meaning Making in Action. Our latest one, from physical place to virtual space, doing Dialogic OD online. Team Discovered, Dialogic Team Coaching. And Hosting Generative Change, Creating Containers for Creativity and Commitment.
Wonderful.
So you can see they're all nice and quick. They're quick reads, a couple hours, but very, very useful, stuff you can use tomorrow.
Since there was so much of beautiful sharing about your professional world, if your professional world is made as a movie, what would be the title of your movie, and what would the audience get as a message?
If my professional work was a movie, what would be the title of the movie? Title of the movie would be Seeing the World Through Many Eyes.
Wow.
Yeah. Because I think, yeah, and because I think personally I've kind of integrated everything from Jungian psychology to, large system sort of macro perspectives and everything in between. I think, yeah, I would say, if you trace my life, it's been both the inner world, micro psychological processes, group processes, intergroup processes, organizational, and kind of environmental impacts on organizations, and kind of trying to understand how all those things are kind of in flow. They're all in flow all the time, right? So
I like your maybe I will title this video, Seeing the World Through Many Eyes.